Right. Hopefully we're live. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Saints View, the channel for something content for our preview ahead of Saturday's trip to West London as we take on the high-flying bees Brentford. I'm joined by Liam. We're going to discuss the Newcastle defeat, deadline day, which ended up being a very, very busy day, and of course the trip to Brentford. Liam, how are you doing? Obviously out of the Carabao Cup, but two new forward players in ahead of another big game in the Premier League. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm still quite positive after Tuesday. Obviously, getting in the two signings, even though we lost the game. I don't think anyone expected us to turn it around at St James's Park. I think we gave them two good games as well across both legs, and we just missed a few chances, and that's the way it is for us at the moment. We just miss chances, and we defend well, but we can see poor goals. So all in all, I'm positive. I'm feeling a bit of a different vibe at the moment with us, and hopefully, if we can get the new two players coming on, getting us some goals, then I think we could be all right. But
Mm.
we'll see
Yeah,
after Saturday's result.
yeah. Just a reminder, if you're watching live, and even if you're watching this on repeat, do make sure you've subscribed if you haven't yet already, and you're following us on our socials. And give us your thoughts on the new signings, the Newcastle game, everything we're going to be discussing as we go along in the comment section below. But going on to the Newcastle, obviously it was a bit. There are a few changes from the first leg, probably most notably James Bree getting a debut. Um, I think that surprised everyone, didn't it? And maybe not so much going with the back five, but having James Bree at right back in particular. There were clear issues with the formation, not necessarily the formation, but definitely the personnel that lined up. What did you make of the starting 11 and particularly the subs as well? I remember you saying Orsic didn't even get any minutes, and we've signed this attacking player with lots of experience, and we needed two goals at that point. What did you kind of make of Nathan Jones's selection and in-game decisions?
I just don't think the formation was right. Particularly Bray at right wing back. He isn't really. I know he's played a bit there for Luton under his days at Nathan Jones, but he just didn't look quick enough. He just wasn't sharp enough. But when he played as a fullback, he looked so much better. He looked so much more comfortable. And playing our best right back at left back and not playing Perraud after he'd had a great game on Saturday against Blackpool just makes me question what his favourites are, and I just don't see what the formation did. And he didn't blame the formation for both our goals, but then when we went to a four at the back, we didn't concede for the rest of the game. So it's like, what is it preferences or is it what he goes back to? And I think we've always said for the last few years, back five doesn't suit us, and every time we play a back five, we don't play well. So it's like
Mm.
it's what he thinks, but personally for me, we don't have the players to play that system. And if we're going to bring in wingers like Orsic and Sunamana, we can't play a 3-5-2 because where are they going to play?
Mm.
They aren't
Yeah,
strikers.
and that's a great comment there from Mark. I completely forgot about the elephant in the room, really, which was Jan Bednarek also being included in that starting 11. I can't really explain that one. But do
100%.
you think he's still. Let me rephrase that question. How far along do you think Nathan Jones is in terms of learning about his squad and their best qualities, and then eventually what could end up being his best 11? How far along do you think he is in that process?
I don't know because we're at the moment with the schedule that we've had, we've been playing every 3 or 4 days. So surely he has some sort of knowing well of what his squad is and what his best formation is. And for me, every time we play with a 3-5-2, we haven't won a game. We played a 4-2-3-1 against Man City, we won 2-0. Played 4-2-3-1 against Everton, we won 2-1. Does people we played 4-3 on Saturday, 1-2-1? I don't see what he's thinking. We're winning games
Mm.
with a four at the back, and the only time the five at the back's working is when we're holding on to a lead, and it does work. But when you set up like that, the attack just goes nothing. The defense is all disorganized, and like not playing Seletasar over Benderak is a joke, absolute joke. We've seen that
Yeah.
Benderak can't play in the back five, and we see he shouldn't be playing for the club, let alone starting in the semi final as his first game back. I had a big rant about it on Tuesday with my tweet, but he should never be playing for the club again. He's poor. He's been poor for years.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the only argument I can kind of think of is all the issues happened under the previous manager, and it was very well documented that his relationship with Ralph Hasenhüttl wasn't great, and obviously this is a new coach. But yeah, for me, I mean, he's even regardless of what he did when he left, and the comments he made on the pitch, he's probably fourth choice, maybe even fifth choice.
You got to back up
Seletar's,
your comments when you make those sort of things, and he doesn't. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, no,
if you can't back yourself, then just
no, but
don't bother doing it.
and that's exactly it. Like he's got Seletar above him in the pecking order. I think based on form this season, Bella Kotchap's there, Salisu's there. He's at least fourth in the pecking order, regardless of
I
the
don't think
comments
he's better
he
than
made.
Lianco either. For me, he's fifth choice. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
that's maybe going a bit over par. But I don't see what he actually brings.
There's no point in playing him. He got booed on Tuesday when he came on and came over to the fans.
No one wants to see Bendorak in the side. What does he actually do to improve our side? I saw when he come on last week when Seletar got red carded. The first thing he did was show a bit of leadership. Oh come on! We don't. We have leadership on the pitch. Everyone has to show leadership, not just the captain or everyone else. You all show leadership as players because you all take a role and a responsibility. You should be doing the simple things. And Bendorak doesn't look comfortable on the ball. It takes about 10 minutes to make a pass. His defending is very dodgy. Most times, I don't see where he's actually going to improve us. I understand why they brought him back because he knows the squad and he doesn't know the system because he's under a new manager. You know what I mean? So it's like, what realistically does he actually bring back to us? Not much.
Yeah, I can appreciate the idea of Nathan Jones wanting 5 centre backs. I think everyone would have just been a bit more appeased if it was Jack Stevens who'd come back than
100%,
Bednarek. But I
100%.
don't think Bournemouth wanted that to happen. But anyway, trying to find some positives, despite the fact that we have signed 2 new forwards, with one being a striker, and we will get onto those next. Shea Adams, 9 goals for the season now, his best tally in a Saints, or level with his best tally in a Saints shirt, albeit that's come across a couple of competitions. It was a good strike, it and it ends Nick Pope's clean sheet run. Can we take that as a positive? We've seen what he's like on goal scoring runs. He scores 1 and then kind of goes on a spurt of 3, 4, or 5, and then doesn't score again for the rest of the season. Can we expect more from him? Do you think? Can we? Is he now going to fight for his place? What do you see from him? What do you think is going to happen?
I think he's got no choice but to fight now, especially with new striker coming in. I mean, obviously that goal on Tuesday was an absolutely fantastic finish. Fantastic. It's like I can't even say it's a proper striker's finish. It's not. It's just one of those ones where he's got nothing else and just hits it. Beautiful, beautiful goal, beautiful finish. But it doesn't matter to me unless he scores the 1-on-1s. Every easy chance he gets, he fluffs it, but can score that. For me, it just doesn't sit right. And obviously, I think it will start on Saturday, and deservedly, I thought he had a good game. Problem is, we need him to score the chances that the strikers should be scoring, not hitting hope from 25 yards or wherever it was out. And I'm kind of thinking the way we want to go, Paul Willing the Watcher, he's a typical poacher, whereas Adams has never been a proper striker. He's everything you want in a striker, bar the finish. That's why we've always said him and Ings worked so good together, because Adams did everything and Ings always was on the end of it. That's why it's perfect. But this, we're relying on him to do both. It just isn't. That isn't Adams, and that's the problem. Is we need a striker to score goals, and it just isn't that. Even though he's got 9 goals this season, but how many has he got in the Premier League? 4. James Ward-Prowse's got more goals than him. That's not good. That's the centre mid. You know what I mean? But hopefully it'll give him some confidence. But I'm still not gonna hype him up or anything. Not at all.
Well, no, 4 of those goals have come against League One teams.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean that's
no, it's true. It's true. But let's go on to those new signings, because obviously exciting that we have got 2 new forwards. We did get the striker that we've been craving for 2 transfer windows now, really, albeit at the last minute. But we'll talk about Kamaldeen Sulemana first. 20-year-old winger coming from Rennes, 21 very soon, I believe. From what I've read, the dribbling is a massive positive. It's a very high quality trait of his. end product's still coming, but it seems like it's a player who comes in with a lot of raw talent and ability, and hopefully could be nurtured into a top talent at Southampton. What, if anything, do you know about him? What have you read? You know, what have you seen, and how do you think he could fit into this side?
I don't know too much about him. I'm pretty sure I watched a few games of his with Ghana at the World Cup. I thought he's very raw talent, as you say, raw pace, great dribbling. The problem is the end product, but that comes from maturity. Yeah,
Recorded the highest top speed of any player at the World
exactly.
Cup.
But end product only comes with maturity and age, and we're seeing that with a lot of Sam Dozy at the moment. His dribbling is perfect, like 1-on-1, like it's scary. It really is, and often he isn't scared to run at any defender from his the end product. And at the moment, the way we are, we can't really afford to not have that end product. But hopefully, with someone like Paul Nuwacho, we'll talk about in a minute, will come in and help him, because I think the sort of striker he is holds it up. And if we have a Dozy or Orsic or Suleiman on the wings, running behind is just going to be easy because it's pure pace. It just gives us something different as well, and more of a natural right-sided winger. But he is more preferred on the left. That's the only problem with me. We've got three really good left wingers there rather than a natural right winger, which I know Adozi and Suleiman can play on the right wing. It's just not their natural or preferred position. But it gives us something different, and I'm excited by the signing as well. Breaking our transfer record window as well. It's just nice, but hopefully it reaps rewards if they can keep us up.
Yeah, no, it is nice, and to be fair, it didn't, for me anyway. It didn't feel like it was that well documented that, you know, it is Southampton's record transfer at 25 million euros or thereabouts. But I think for me, anyway, the one that was an absolute necessity was the striker, and we did end up getting that in Paul Onuachu. It seemed like it was a whole dramatic series of events the last 2 days of the transfer window. There was talks of Moussa Dembele, there were talks of Vitinha from Braga, and it looked like Vitinha from Braga could have been a real possibility, but he ended up at Marseille. And then we go for Paul Onuachu, having had a bid rejected last week. 6'7". I'm not 100% sure where that ranks him in terms of the tallest players in the Premier League, but he's certainly.
I think he is the tallest now over Vestergaard.
So he's the tallest Premier League player in the Premier League. I mean, that in itself should be something to be excited about, surely.
Yeah, it gives us something different. You get what I mean? Like, I think we like to play long ball a lot under Nathan Jones, and Adams he's very strong with the ball at his feet. He's isn't very physical in the air. So if we are going to go long ball, then obviously Paul gives us something different, like 6'7". We've got the best set piece taker in the league, and we don't score enough. Obviously, he scores a lot of free kicks, but we don't score enough free kicks from actual crosses and corners. So it gives us something different, and we just need that bit of aggression, because we do have tall players. We have tall centre backs, but they're weak. They're very weak-minded, so they don't really run in for the header. They just kind of mess around with it. You get what I mean? So it gives us some different approach in the box, and I'm excited by it. I don't see why we can't. Like, I'm just glad that the club, after the first bid, got rejected, because I know we all know that Genk didn't want him to go, and we pushed through with it, and we gave them the money they wanted, and we got it done quick. I don't think he'll be playing Saturday, but it just gives us something. Yeah, I mean, it gives us something different, and maybe it'll make Adams and Mara work harder, thinking, I'm not going to be guaranteed minutes here. I need to score goals. So hopefully it gives them a bit of a boost as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Actually, both signings, you can't imagine them to be involved at all on Saturday. Really, I think Onuachu's only just made it into the country and probably come to Staplewood tomorrow. Suleiman, I've got no clue where he is, and kind of
there's been no update on him.
The plans for him, but yeah, I think it's right. Well, top goal scorer in the Belgian top flight, obviously playing for Genk. Has played actually against Southampton before when at Midland all those years ago in the Europa League. So, you know, it seems like a natural next step. 28 as well, signing a 3.5-year contract. So a bit of experience in there as well. But do you have the faith? Do you have the faith that he can be the man to score the goals that keeps us in the Premier League? Coming from, you know, not the worst division in the world, but certainly not in the top 5 European leagues. But have you got the faith that he can be the man? And and it can work for him in this side.
I feel they can, but I think for a striker, it either goes one or two ways. It, you can see by his record, or for Genk and Midtjylland, he has a fantastic goal scoring record. And when you're a goal scorer, you come in with that natural ability, and it doesn't matter if you're in the game or not. It matters what you do with the one shot you get or the two shots you get. Yeah, I mean the big chance you have. It doesn't matter about ability, it's whether you can put it in the back of the net. I think that's what most of us care about. It's a bit like Haaland. He isn't really a team player. He isn't a great link-up player. What he does most is put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what we need to do. We need to create in chances. That's where I think we miss out a bit because we don't have that natural number 10. Even though obviously Prowsey, I know he's been playing there, but for me, he isn't a natural number 10. He's a goal scorer number 10, but he isn't the passing. He isn't the link-up play. That's where he plays better as probably a pivot with like someone like Lavia. So I think we kind of missed out on some of the number 10s. I just don't think Arabio's really adapted well, but I do think if we give him the service, he will score goals. And we just got, I think from now on, we're just going to put crosses in the box. And he's the tallest player in the Premier League now. And he's not just tall and weak, he's tall and aggressive. So we just got to get the ball in the box and hope for the best. And we got nothing to lose, mate. We got nothing to lose with him. Just chuck him right in, for me anyway.
Well, back onto the Premier League after 3 cup games. We're still bottom of the Premier League, but it is incredibly tight down there. Level on points with Everton, Bournemouth in 18th, Wolves in 17th. They've got 17 points. 16th West Ham, 15th place Leeds, and 14th place Leicester have 18 points. So realistically speaking, a win on Saturday could do absolute wonders, or even a draw would be massive. But Brentford, probably one of my favourite teams to watch in the Premier League this season. They're up in 8th. They're having a fantastic campaign once again under Thomas Frank. I mean, it's a club that reminds me a lot of Southampton when we were pushing for Europe, when we were under Pochettino and Ronald Koeman. Obviously, they're set up a little bit differently, obviously, and have stuck with the manager that kept them up and rewarded him with a massive contract earlier in the year. But just how impressed have you been with them this season? Obviously, it was a great first campaign for them last year, but they're up in 8th and they're well on course for a top half finish. What have you made of them so far? As it is the first time we played them because the home game was rearranged.
Oh mate, I think they're absolutely fantastic, and I think they're Premier League quality players in the Championship anyway. Just never really come up, and their recruitment's top class. Like players like Christian Norgard, Ivan Toney, Jensen, Rico Henry as well, David Raya. They're pure class, and they work under Thomas Frank so well. His passion is tactical wise as a manager. It's fantastic, and he's definitely going to be up there with probably some of the big teams in the world. Personally, for me, anyway. And what I like about Brentford is they're so adaptable with the 3-5-2, the 4-3-3, and they have players who fight for them. And we've got to do the same as well. And Nathan Jones, and I think what's going to be interesting is I think if Brentford are going to play 3-5-2, and are we going to match it up, or are we going to match Brentford up with a 4-3-3 if they play a 4-3-3? And I think what will be interesting is where we've played 3 games since they last played, so they haven't played in 2 weeks because they were out of the FA Cup. So are they going to be fresh, or are they going to be not game ready, or are we going to take advantage of the way we've played, or are we going to be tired? So it's going to be very interesting to see what both teams are like, really. But I think it'll be a great game, and I don't think Brentford have lost at home all season either. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I can't remember them losing at home all season. So I think it'll be a very great, interesting game for us, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, obviously last season's trip to Brentford was pretty horrific in a 3-0 defeat towards the end of the season. The only game, just having a look at their results, I think the only game they've lost at home was Arsenal 3-0.
Yes. Yes, that was the one.
But I mean, that's a fantastic record anyway. The only game they've lost at home is against the league leaders. But going back to that trip back in May, obviously Saints were safe, and it was kind of towards the end of that run where we were abysmal, and we dropped from top half to, well, almost a potential last-minute relegation battle. But are you are you expecting a better show? I mean, obviously, let's hope we're getting a better show. But are you confident that it will be a better showing and it'll be a lot more competitive game than it was at the end of last season? Because of course, this is a team that we're facing that are higher up in the table now, and we're lower than we were. But are we playing them at a good time? What are you expecting?
Honestly, I don't know, mate, because I think a lot of people still look at it as it's a game that we could be winning. And for me, I think, yeah, maybe, but then Brentford are eighth in the league for a reason. We're bottom of the league for a reason. If we lose this game, am I going to be annoyed? Obviously, yes, of course we're going to be annoyed because we need to pick up points. But Brentford are a fantastic side with fantastic players. They know how to defend. They know how to score. And for us, it's just going to be a game where I think it's going to be about chances, and we got to take ours, and hopefully they don't take theirs. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting. I'm expecting obviously better than last year when we lost 3-0. But then for me, that game last year was a weird one because we dominated the game and we just conceded three poor goals. But then hasn't that summed up us for the last how many years? Conceding sloppy goals. So we just need to be defensive. Think defensively first and get our chances.
If you had the decision, if you had the final say, would you go for a back four to start?
100%, without a doubt. We defend better with a back four. We play better with a back four. And I think the whole reason that Jones brought James Bree in is because he can play as a right back and a right centre back. So we can have that. Like I think we've seen it with Lianco. He's playing as a right back when we've got the ball, and when we're not got the ball, he's playing as a right centre back, and our right-handed players dropping in. So I think that's the whole point we brought him in, and he's going to play on Saturday because Walker Peters come off injured. So he's got no choice to go back to back four. And we all saw on Saturday that James Bree as a right wing back did not work one bit. 100%, it can't be back four.
And then bring Perot in at left back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Whether he does that or not, that's obviously yet to be seen.
That's a different answer.
Yeah, that's a completely different argument. But we're going to push to the end, and I'm going to push you for a score prediction. What you hoping? Well, obviously hoping for a win, but what are you expecting from us? What sort of lineup do you think we're going to see? And what score prediction?
Well, I expect the lineup is probably be relatively the same as Tuesday, with probably maybe Lavia in for Diallo and Perraud in for Walker Peters. That's what I probably would expect to see. What I'd like to see is different. I'd want us to bring in a Dozier. I'd want us to bring in Orsic. I'd want us to play free in midfield or a double pivot with Lavia and Alcaraz. And obviously, I'd want to see Duje back in. I don't see why not. And I think, why not bring Bella in as well? I thought the whole defence on Tuesday was very poor and just lacklustre. Salisu still thinks, I love Salisu. I think he's a brilliant defender. But on the ball, he still thinks he's in Spain. He has about 10 minutes on the ball and loses it. So I just think, some of these players have been rested, and Bellows didn't play on Tuesday. Salazar didn't play on Tuesday. Freshen it up a bit and hopefully go for four at the back. I don't know, but I'm not really expecting anything huge changes with the lineup. And yeah, I think score predictions, Head says 2-1, but then Brentford are a very good side and they've only lost one game all season. So I'll go optimistic and go 1-1.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go for. It'll be a bit optimistic, but I think, mate, no beats about it. A point would be a great result. We were going to say the same about Aston Villa. A point there would have been great. So yeah, I think away from home gets a very good side. That point could be massive. I haven't seen.
That's the problem with us. We're not picking up points. We're losing 1-0 where we should be picking up points and deserve to pick up points. Well, so those points go a long way towards the end of the season.
Well, that point could potentially take us above Everton into 19th. They have Arsenal.
They got Arsenal and Liverpool as the next two. So if we're still bottom by then it's lights over.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty fair statement. But thanks for joining me, mate. Thank you for everyone who's joined live. And if you are watching on repeat, make sure to subscribe, follow us on our socials, and we will see you after the Brentford game, hopefully for a review after big 3 points.